All right, everybody, welcome and welcome back to the Sangha Show. Joining us again today is Ruchi Wali from Canada. Ruchi, first of all, welcome back to the Sangha Show. Good to have you, and thank you for taking the time to come and talk to us again. Ji.
Absolutely. It's good to be here. And I think the timing is really critical. The topic that we are talking about today is really important, not just for Canada, but as India, for India as well, and like couple of other countries, Japan and Australia as well. So it's a really important topic that we're going to discuss today. Really looking forward to the discussion.
Yes, absolutely. And I wanted to cover this, especially Carney's recent visit to India for about a week now. But then I've been busy, and then there's a lot of stuff going on, as you can see with the. So Salim Vastik was attacked. Fortunately, he's okay. Pakistan and Afghanistan are attacking each other, and then Iran is going down and is basically attacking everybody. So there's a lot of stuff going on. But yeah, okay. So Adam Z, is this live? Yes, we are live. Okay, so let's get straight to it. So comparing to the former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau during his rule, the I personally I saw the India-Canada relations going down the drain. Never before did Canada not only accuse but kind of like attacked India that like aggressively that with the narrative that India is sponsoring assassinations on Canadian soil. How do you compare that to now with Mark Carney's recent visit to India? And what can we look forward to? What can both Indians and Canadians look forward to from this as a result of this trip? Yeah.
Sure, thank you. I think it's a really warm and welcome change that Mark Carney is, presenting Canada, India with, and it's really the need of the hour. And actually, Sangha, the bitterness between India-Canada relationship is not just from the last government. The relationship has been bitter like since the even before the the Canadian 9/11, the Air India bombing, it has been really bitter. We have
Mm.
never had like good terms, and yes, it's actually worsened in the last establishment. But the direction that Mark Carney is giving, he is taking a very pragmatic approach, and the direction that he's giving is very positive. The diaspora is really excited here, and they're really looking forward to this relationship. And if you hear what how he's positioning himself, the kind of words that he's using in his speeches, in his discussions, like reliable partners, warm relationship, not weaponizing the issues, we are here to collaborate, not to compete. So it's a very fresh and much needed perspective, especially in this global world that we are in right now, especially like our neighbor, on the south, the tariffs that we are facing. And also not just the neighbor on the south, but other countries too, like what happened during COVID, how we saw China exploiting pretty much every country, because we had too much dependency on China. So too much dependency on one country is not something that we should be, or any, we should be kind of looking forward to it. We should look at multipolar alignment, where we can work with lot of different countries without having too much reliance on one country. And of course, the main idea should be self development. We should focus on creating our own industries, scaling the manufacturing and everything. So yes, a very positive, much needed direction, especially when it comes to Canada India ties, because they are like two democracies working together, and there is so much to explore, so much to gain from this relationship. So very, very, very positive.
Yeah, look, you can't really go against India and still have a good hold in this region. So, other than India, right? So, India has its flaws, definitely, maybe a thousand, maybe more. Yeah, we're not saying India is perfect, not even near, not even
Not
close.
close, yeah.
But, but India in that region is the only proper functioning democracy. China, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Nepal, Who else can you trust in that region? And that's the reason that America has always, you've had ups and downs, पर उनका जो relationship था वो हमेशा balanced रहा है, positive रहा है. It's always been positive because they know whether it be, as a deterrent state against China, the rise of China, or you know to tackle Iran, whatever. America knows that India is very important, and I'm just waiting for a Canadian Prime Minister to finally come forward and recognize the fact that Khalistan is the only, one of the major issues that's creating this rift between India and Canada. And it's very much a Canadian domestic issue. If you don't recognize it as such, in the future, it's going to come back and bite you in a way that you're not going to like it. G.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, couple of things that I want to talk about here. So, US, how US tackles India and how Canada has tackled India in the past is two, like, it's poles apart. So, if you remember during the time when we were getting clear signals of the bombing, like as clear as the day was also known to our agencies, the weekend was known, the flight was known, everything, but of course they did not act. At around same time there were issues, like there were some people that they caught in the US. FBI caught them. They did not allow them to proceed with their plans, and I think they went to jail as well. So as and what happened in Canada, and all, so it's completely different. We allowed it to happen for whatever reason. We did not pay much attention. And fast forward in the last establishment, you know how the last prime minister stood up in the House of Commons and said whatever he said. See, diplomacy and law and order are two separate things. We should not mix them together. And we know at the same time US is also pursuing a case with India, but you see that they are tackling it in a very smart fashion. FBI is doing whatever they are required to do, their agencies are doing whatever they are required to do. There, no politician is speaking about it because it's not their area. So that is how diplomacy and law and order should work. And yes, I like in if you ask me, Khalistan is a Canadian issue. Uh, the Khalistan separatists and the Khalistani terrorists, they got emboldened after we botched up the Air India investigation. In spite of we allowed the bombing to happen in spite of the clear warnings, and then we botched up the trial. A lot of people just walked free. We allowed intimidation of witnesses, intimidation of people who want to come forward and speak about it. So we allowed all that to happen, and we dragged it for like so many years. But and now, like, maybe when it started, the Khalistan movement, maybe when it started like maybe 50 years ago, it was yes, it was about maybe creating a east Bangladesh on this time, with sharing a border with Pakistan. But it's not that anymore. This movement has now morphed into a factory of immigration frauds, a factory of drugs and mafia and crime. What they cry about, like human rights and humanity, and that is just a deception for to fool the Western democracies, to fool the media. But and that is how they hide behind. And when you look at how they are doing, what they are doing on the ground, they are promoting a lot of like I said, immigration issues, immigration frauds, asylum frauds. They have been so many endless cases where they have been caught red-handed in drug supplies, and huge uh, uh, amount of drugs have been caught. The facilities that they are using to manufacture these drugs, these are like corporate style big facilities. So it is not a human right movement anymore. It is like a fraud movement. Human right is just a deception that they use, where they are just promoting immigration frauds and other criminal activities and drugs and human right violation, human trafficking, and everything around it.
Well, I don't. It was never a human rights movement to begin with. It's just that the perpetrators playing the victim card from the get go. from the get-go.
That's
Okay,
what they do. As
so
soon as you start questioning them, they'll start showing up their victim card.
yeah, and plus they'll harass you like we spoke the last time you were here. We even displayed their comments and the depth they went to harass you and your family. So
Yes.
I mean, it's pretty simple. If you can't answer somebody's questions and you want to do violence, then yes, you are a, as we say in Punjabi, you're a attavadi, like you're a
Yeah.
terrorist. You can't just attack people, especially being in countries like Canada, New Zealand. There's this guy, Punjabi Sikh from New Zealand. I don't share any um, ideology
Yeah.
with him. I don't
Okay.
really agree with the things he say or believe in, but he has the right to say whatever he wants to say, especially being in a democratic country like New Zealand. And guess what they did? They waited outside of his house in New Zealand, and they barged in when he was entering his garage, and they attacked him, and he survived miraculously. But yeah, so if you living in Canada, living in the United States, living in New Zealand want to do violence to people because you don't like what they say, well, you don't belong in these countries. Not even in India. Even in
No.
India you have freedom of speech. so
No, they have
so
a
yeah.
big history of violence against people who speak, against them. It's a long list. They have during the Air India bombing as well, the trial as well. They killed Tara Singh here. They first tried to kill him. He somehow managed and escaped. And as soon as he'd given his written statement and he was about to testify, and they shot him in his garage. And there are so many other voices that they have tried to intimidate. Ujjalji, who's like, he's a career politician. He's been a premier, a brown premier, I think the only brown premier of in Canada. And he's never sided with the separatists. And you know how he was attacked. He was, I think he had probably over 80, 90 stitches in his head because they attacked. And the attacker, it was such a, and that attacker showed up in Trudeau's India's visit when Trudeau was there last time. And somehow Trudeau blamed the Indian agencies, that somehow they had ownership of his guest list. So that, and even Balraji was like, he almost lost his life, and he was
Yeah, I was
attacked
just
by.
gonna get there.
So it, and lot of journalists as well, Terry Molesky, Kim Bolan, Terry Glevin, Nancy McDonald. The list is, it keeps growing, is what I can say. And so that is, that is very much against democracies. Like you said, they should not be here because they do not align with democratic values. So, and that is something that all the government should protect. The government should protect dissent. They should allow sane voices, and they should allow this diversity of view without getting attacked one way or another. Especially, like gagging them or physically attacking them, attacking their families, or going after them. So that is something that the government should protect. Only then you can allow diversity of thought in a democracy.
Yeah, so even I was gonna talk about Balraj Deol. So him being in Canada, having the right to say, "Well, I disagree with your movement," got attacked, and like you said, he almost died. He almost lost his life. Now,
Yeah, all he did was he spoke about, I think, some resolution that got passed between the Punjab government and India, and that's
mm,
all. Like, that's all, and there you go. He was brutally attacked.
they cry. Okay, so nobody's saying that the Punjab police did not commit, atrocities, human rights violations. Obviously, the number is not what they say, and their number always increases. I think it's what, 50K
Yeah,
now, 50,000.
yeah,
Imagine
from
how many
1000 they
villages.
have, yeah.
Imagine how many villages would that be? 50,000 people, and then no document, whatever. But anyway, beside the this thing point. So let's say that first of all, KPS Gill never ordered the killing of innocents by himself. If he did, give us the proof. Simple as that. And secondly, even if he did, What did they do to the his predecessor? The well, what was his name? The one who was killed inside the Golden Temple complex. A.S. Atwal. A.S.
Pal,
Atwal.
Pal,
So
yeah,
yeah, DIG
yeah. Was
Punjab was
yeah.
killed in the Golden Temple after offering his prayers. And what do you expect from his successor? Like he's gonna hug you and like talk you out
That's
of this.
that that's what they do, right? They pick up this incident of, and they call it attack on the Golden Temple. You know, if God forbid the Indian army wanted to attack the Golden Temple, they could have flattened it completely, but they did not.
Yeah.
The casualties that the Indian army had when they were trying to get this terrorist Jarnail Singh Bhindranwale out of the Akal Takht, they had the maximum
Mm,
casualties. You know, even in Kargil, we did not lose. They did not lose so many soldiers in one day. So there is no comparison at all, and that's what, see, that's what their narrative is. Oh, you attacked, but like the terrorist is a terrorist. Like they are not calling him out, and I don't think this was the first time where Bhindranwale was taking shelter in a gurdwara. I think that was probably the third or the fourth time he did.
mm.
It was a,
And he'd been there for over two
yes,
years.
yes, he was there and he was committing all the atrocities from there. Nobody's questioning that, but they just picked this one incident and they have blown up the number, like of, and they, and even like, even if you look at the speech that Bagri gave in when the WSO was set up, he's calling for
Mm.
violence, and that speech is months before the Sikh program that
Operation
happened
Blue
there.
Star. Oh,
No,
sorry.
it
Yeah,
happened
the
after
Delhi,
Blue
Delhi thing.
Star, but the
Yeah, yeah,
Sikh
Delhi.
program that happened. So they are the people who, you can clearly see, they are hungry for violence and revenge and bloodshed, and then they completely turn the table and say that, oh, by the way, we are very human right oriented. We are this, we are that, and they are not. Like when you look at the facts versus propaganda, it's poles apart. So that is, that's what I feel sometimes. Even if you look at the discourse that we have in the mainstream media in Canada here, it's very sad. Like people in the media, you would think that they are like an educated class people, they have access to so much information, and and in this age of internet, they are not, they're calling these people as Sikh activists. They do not represent Sikhs at all. Even if you look at their referendums, for example, they're not even, and I'm believing the numbers that they are quoting. Nobody is counting, but let's believe the numbers that they are quoting. They're not even able to pull 1% of the Sikh population, and they have been on it for over 50 years. What does that tell you? It is not Sikh representation. And look what happened in the last election in Canada. Like that's a clear example that nobody wants to side with these Sikh Khalistani separatists.
Yeah,
Not Sikh, but Khalistani separatists. Yes, they have lot of tainted drug money, but they don't have the say of the community. They do not represent this hardworking Sikh community. In fact, they are the people who have misrepresented them in the media or elsewhere. They are the people who are responsible for all the bias that we see is growing against a hardworking Sikh person, including my family. So that's what it is, and we have to call out. And I really hope that the media kind of updates themselves where they are and how these people have दे आर लाइक क्या बोलते हैं वो भेड़ की शक्ल में भेड़िया.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Wolf in the sheep's clothing, right?
Yes, wolf in a sheep's clothing. Yep.
Yeah. So here's the thing, though, right? I doubt they have any. So on their whatever the referendum, uh, at the polls, I doubt there's more than one option. It just has to be Khalistan, and that's it. And
No, I have seen
then
their ballot, but they like, you just don't go and start doing referendums. There is a process around it. There is a, you have to have somebody watching your voting, and nobody recognizes their referendums.
it's a picnic.
Uh,
It's a gathering. It's a
Yes,
picnic.
that's
Like
all. And I was
it's
same people you'll see coming to Surrey, they'll go to Brampton, they'll even fly to UK and
New
Australia
Zealand. New
to see
Zealand.
tenure.
It's always the same 15 people, though, like 10 and 15 people. And then
Yes.
it'll say Khalistani rally takes over Indian consulate in so and so city. And
Yeah.
I'm like, you old fools. Like, I know, like, it's not good to say it. Like, I'm just waiting for all these old timers to, like, just go away,
But
like
don't you
die.
enjoy Guru Panu's their his videos, like such beautiful animation? So I really enjoy watching his videos with all the fireworks and everything.
I was gonna do a shot on him, so he stands like this, and then he looks at the teleporter. I mean, like, how hard is it to, like, remove your pauses? Like, Canada, all the Hindus must
Go.
go to India, or
Yeah,
else I mean, uh,
they are fun to watch.
yeah,
I don't
I
repeat
used
what
to
he
follow the
says,
guy for
but
the
yeah, they're fun
entertainment,
to.
like, yeah. So the violence. Let's get back to that thing, right? Um, we're not safe. I'm not safe. I can't go to Brampton and ask a Punjabi for directions that they may recognize. They'll, okay, well, this guy sounds like that guy. All it takes is one guy to, just say it out loud, and then the next thing you know, you're surrounded. Now, why do I have to fear that in a country like Canada, in a country like, let's say, New Zealand, Australia? All I'm saying is, well, you're saying the Golden Temple was attacked. I'm saying that you guys were using it as a fort. You had fortified it. You had no business in there. Jarnail Singh Bhindranwale was not the president of the SGPC. He was not the Jathedar of Akal Takht. What business did he have to stay in there for 2 years and more than that, right? And then
Yeah,
he's on tape, on tape. I mean, we've spoken about this in our previous conversation. He's on tape saying, I'll kill 5,000 Hindus in an hour if you don't take my bus. And then what happens after? Hindus, Punjabi Hindus, are killed, dragged off the buses, and they're killed. And
yeah,
his follower, Bhagadi, he goes on and says, "We until we kill 50,000 Hindus, we shall not rest." Okay, now let me tell you about my thing. So how the messages that I receive. So there's this guy. He's in Kuwait. He's a truck driver, right? He watches every single video and every single live stream of mine, and then he threatens me. Now this guy went on using it. Look at what an idiot like these people are. Like, you're using your real profile with your photos. I know what your grandfather looked like. Okay, you got your dad's photo, you got your wife's photo, your name, your contact number, and then he's telling me in Punjabi ke aana samjhi ke tera tu Canada baitha ja bahar baitha, like, don't be fooled that you're not in India, that you're safe. You have some relative. I don't care how distant. I will barge into their house and I will soda. I'll give them this thing. Pittal barna means I'll shoot them. Why?
gaddi chadna, sauda lagana. That's the
Soda
language that.
lagana. नहीं, pittal par dena मैं. Like, yeah, I'll give them the copper, right? Like, why? Why?
Yeah.
क्यों?
See, that's the thing. So two things I will say. So this trade deal advancement that we are having with India, I am very happy and very positive that we are moving in this direction, but I have my fingers crossed. I have my fingers crossed because the Khalistani extremists and the Khalistani terrorists, they have a stranglehold not just on our media, but on our, they have infiltrated all our systems, they have infiltrated all our agencies. Like, how the hell did we have the bombing if there was no infiltration, and how the hell did we botched up the trial, and how did we not catch them? Because they have infiltrated,
Mm,
and that infiltration will take time to go away. Yes, it takes a strong leader, which I'm hoping Mark Carney is, but it will take time, and it will not be easy, signing the MOUs. I think we have signed probably 5 MOUs, and the uranium deal that we had with Saskatchewan. But implementing it, putting boots on the ground and rolling it is a completely different game. And that is what everybody should watch for, because they will like try everything in their arsenal to stop that from happening, and calling it a failure and whatnot. So that is what I will be watching. And the second thing that I wanted to say, Sangha, is that when you hear these people speak, anybody like the Sikh leaders or the Sikh activist, when they talk in English, even like if you look at Shaheed Bhai Hardeep Singh Nijjar. You know, when
Yeah, yeah.
he's talking in Punjabi, he's talking things like Gaddi Chadana, which means assassination
Mm.
and killing.
Yeah.
So he's celebrating the violence. I don't know if I've never heard him speak in English. I don't know if he knew English or not. But that is my point is when they talk to average white person who understands only English, then they will their demeanor is very polished. It's very language is very professional. They'll use words like human rights and
Mm.
freedom of speech and whatnot. And as soon as they switch from Hindi to Punjabi, it changes. You can see that shift happening then and there, and they'll talk about how it's okay in a democratic environment that we are right now. They talk about political assassination, killing of people, innocent people, and they will celebrate that. How why do they call Talvinder Singh Parmar as a martyr? Like, why is he a martyr of Sikh nation? Like, so because they celebrate that, they think it's a victory somehow that they have achieved.
Yeah. So celebrating terrorists. Okay. So if you claim to be, so these are the same people who, when asked where you from, they get offended. What do you mean where I'm from? I'm from Vancouver. I'm from here. I'm Canadian. Okay. We all know what they mean, right? So just tell them. Just tell them I'm from India. Well, I'm of Indian origin, whatever, right? And the same people will be waving. I've never seen them wave Canadian flags as much as they've waved these Khalistani, funny-looking yellow flags. So if you're a Canadian, you talk about Canada, right?
Yeah.
What do you have to do with anything that goes on in India? You're not from India. You've never lived in India. You're never gonna live in India. So
Yeah.
I've said this before, and I'll say this again. I have never seen an Irish American, an Irish Canadian, or an Irish Australian, whatever, right? Protesting about things that are going on in the Republic of Ireland or Northern Ireland. They just don't care because they're already Canadian. They're truly Canadians. They're truly Americans, truly Australians. So if you
Yeah.
really consider yourself Canadian to a point that you don't want people asking you where you're from, stop waving flags that don't look like the Canadian flag. Simple as that. If you are a Canadian, talk about Canada. All right. Now,
Yeah.
I'm going to just quickly go back to Justin Trudeau. So this Khalistani thing, in my opinion, in my personal opinion, was not where it is today. Before Justin Trudeau happened, why? Because how many times did he not get the majority? And every time, and Jagmeet Singh came in and then helped him out, right? And guess what happens? Suddenly, you have this Canadian administration that is very pro Khalistan, and all these people that are born in Canada and they all call themselves Khalistanis and they're all anti-India. Do you really think they're like Canadian enough to serve Canada and like in its best interests? Like they're no.
No, they just
So
use our democracy as a
exactly.
like some like a launch pad for their aggression, for their revenge, for their aggression. But again, I will come back to this point. My view is
Yeah.
Pakistan is not about a Sikh state, not anymore.
Hmm.
It's not about Sikh representation. It is it's a deception. What they want to do is they want to see they're happy. They are like, think of it like when they have an immigrant coming from India, they are paying like equivalent to 30-40 lakh, which is almost, I would say, 50-60,000 US Canadian dollars, probably more. It's not a small amount, and every step of the way they charge money, and it's a fully functional, well-oiled supply chain machinery. Everybody has a role to play, be it an immigration consultant who's sitting in Punjab, India, or an immigration consultant who's sitting here in Canada, or the politicians there in India as well as here in Canada who sign these letters. They get paid their cut. So they are happy with this tainted money. They are making money. That's all they care about. They do not care about creating a sick. It's there. It's not about six. It's about getting that money. And immigration is one thing. The second is that the drug cartels that they run. We've got so many, so many criminals. A recent case. You were talking about New Zealand earlier, so I want to point out to a case where in 20, I think Feb of 2023 or March of 2023, they caught this guy Baltej Singh Agwan. He's the nephew of the assassin of Mrs. Indira Gandhi. So
Mm,
he was caught in, and that is the biggest drug bust that could have happened, like that has happened in the history of New Zealand. And the drugs were getting, and it's the high potency meth that were getting shipped in beer containers, in maple containers from Canada. 3 years they haven't caught anybody in Canada. How do you think that is possible without infiltrating the systems? So that is a bigger problem that we have here in Canada. They are they have access to our systems, they have access to our agencies, they have a stranglehold on them. That is why things don't, recently, I don't know if you know, but there were, I think, 9 police officers that were caught in Toronto police helping with all this. So the infiltration is pretty deep. That is just the tip of the iceberg. And whenever we catch these people, it's the lowest denomination of people that get caught. People sitting high up, they just get away with it. But and that is the main hurdle that Canada, India will have to cross when it comes to implementing these trade deals that we have signed. And that is my bigger worry. Signing is one thing, delivering is completely a
mm,
different, and it'll not be easy. They'll try to
yeah.
put roadblocks.
Yep, yep. Okay, so very quickly, you know how many of these Khalistanis, I think in the thousands, were blacklisted from ever returning to India,
Yeah,
and I don't understand all those 350 odd people that were taken off those
In-
blacklists,
including
allowed,
Ripuda Malik.
yeah, allowed to go back to India, and they go to Punjab. Now these, so I want the well, not just the Canadians, the non-Indian people watching this and who will be watching us later. India hates the Sikhs so much that it allows the Khalistani separatists to come back on Indian soil, go to Punjab, and brainwash and radicalize Indian citizens, the Sikhs living in Punjab. India
Yeah.
hates the Sikhs so much that Jarnail Singh Bhindranwale's grandson's wedding was a no less than a military ceremony. He was
Yeah.
sitting on top of a horse, and then I think at least 1,000 shots were fired from all different calibers, rifles, uh, double barrel shotguns, pistols, revolvers. So, and all his sons, so both of his sons and all their kids have government issued gun licenses. They're weapon owners. Does that sound like a slave to you? And one more thing, India hates the Sikhs so much that Khalistani leader named Simranjit Singh Mann, who by the way issues
Fine.
letters of false
Yes.
asylum claims and all that to help you out, help a brother out with Canadian PR visa, and he is a member of parliament.
Yeah.
Another Khalistani, Amritpal Singh, he ran and won while in jail. That's how
Yeah.
much India hates the Sikhs, and that's
And
how.
that's, India has have had Sikh prime ministers. They have had Sikh
Mm,
president.
presidents.
Even in military, they have so much representation, so much power. They are in those positions, but still, yes, India is, persecuting Sikhs, and they're not for Sikhs, and they hate Sikhs. So that's what, like, I feel really sad sometimes that it's out there. You just have to use your head, you just have to use your brain to compare their propaganda with the facts on the ground. And that is, you know like, that is probably why politically and electorally, these separatists, they have not been able to make much impact
Mm,
in India. And that's why I say it is not about Sikh representation. It's not about a Sikh state. It is a cult. It
mm,
is a cult that does immigration frauds, drug cartels, and other human trafficking and everything around it. And it's a well-oiled supply chain, well-oiled machinery. It's like an organized crime. They have perfected this over so many years now, and that is something that we are fighting against. And it'll take a lot of effort, a lot of energy to dismantle that. And that is how we should look at it.
Now, recently there's a case that happened in India, right? An incident. So, two Punjabi Sikhs, I think early 20s,
Mm-hmm.
they killed two Punjabi Sikh police officers. All right. So, they shot them dead. From what I heard so far, is at the orders of somebody based in Pakistan. Okay.
Okay.
So, Indian Sikhs in India are killing Indian Sikh police officers of the Punjab police in Punjab at the orders of Pakistani, this thing. Um, I don't know if it's ISI, whatever. I don't want to just talk hearsay, but they had links in Pakistan, right? Now, guess what the news is coming out? So one of them gets killed, and then the victim card is look, they're killing innocent Sikhs.
Yeah,
Those two
that's
guys killed active duty, on duty police officers who were also Sikh at the
yeah,
orders of Pakistan.
yeah.
What do you expect to happen?
They should be garlanded. That is what they are expecting. Yeah, no, that's the they are
Yeah,
like very good at playing these identity politics, and
yeah.
they ignore the criminal angle to it, and they just want to shape the narrative in that way. And they're pretty pro at doing that. I would say, like, the West is buying it clearly. So
Mm,
they are people in India, of course, they don't buy it because they've seen it. And like, I feel that's like Canadians should not be buying it at all, because Canada is the only Western democracy that has faced this issue head on, in the sense they have faced uh, uh, the biggest bullet that Canada took of this is the Canadian 9/11, and
mm.
still we have our lessons, and that's really unfortunate. We are celebrating in a way the 331 innocent people who died, including lot of Sikhs and lot of kids under the age of 13. So we are disrespecting uh, their
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 memory.
their memories, and by looking the other way, by completely forgetting what they did, how they blew up the plane. And there is like so much information available, like I said, in this age of technology and internet, but nobody we are yeah. So that's a bigger problem for me. That's
Well,
how I'm looking at it.
like we said the last time we spoke, no justice served to the victims. Canada has failed the victims and their family, their loved
Yeah,
ones.
yeah,
One day in a year, they just want to go and, you know, spend one day thinking, remembering their lost ones. And these idiots, they take their dirty flags and they go there and then they not even let them have that one day of peace, and they
yeah,
start their propaganda. Oh, well, India did it, this and that. The world is not stupid. The world knows, the world remembers. Simple as that. You cannot change history. You cannot change the facts. You can bark all you want. You can get the loudest speakers, the loudest platforms. The facts remain the same.
yeah.
You guys worship terrorists. This thing, Talvinder Singh Parmar was a terrorist.
He
Okay.
was. Yeah,
Jarnail Singh Bhindranwala is on record, many different tapes,
yeah,
instructing his followers that were strategically placed in 34 other temples, gurdwaras all over Punjab, on tape, giving them instructions that if and when the Golden Temple is attacked, each and every one of you should kill at least 20 Hindus. And then that day on, there should not be a Challi Ram, a Hindu, left in Punjab. Now,
yeah.
bomb threats. Pannu himself has done it in the past, recent past. Recently, I believe, less than a month ago, the Indian state of Punjab was on a high alert. They blew up a train track with a mini bomb. Luckily, nobody died. Does these, does all of this sound like somebody who's a slave?
or
Like,
uh, or somebody who's persecuted. No,
yeah,
somebody
you
who's
don't see,
oppressed. No.
You don't see videos of Hindus slapping Sikhs in India, being the majority, right? But you do see Sikhs chopping off people's wrists just because they're
Yeah,
smoking
and
cigarettes
lot
and
of
too close.
these lot of these blasphemy cases, Sangha, you will notice that they will come from Punjab, where the
Punjab,
Sikh
only in Punjab, yeah.
where the Sikh population is like maybe over 60%. So Sikhs are in majority there. How does this math work when you are in majority and you are claiming blasphemy, when in other states, which is like an equivalent of a province in Canada, when in other states where Sikhs are in minority, we don't have such issues. So it is clear that it is cooked and manufactured and you know done purposely to
Mhm.
ignite issues and to keep them ignited, if I may say. So yeah, I mean it's quite sad state of affairs that we have seen in Canada as well as in India. I hope people learn this lesson. The main goal of history is for us to learn from it. I hope people learn this lesson and avoid such things and stop giving space to these people. They do not speak for Sikh. They do not represent a Sikh. They are the like a blot on their identity actually.
Well, I keep saying this, and I'm going to say it one more time. These are the same people who burned their own ancestral state of Punjab, if tomorrow, when they do realize, and realize they will, that there will be not even an inch of land spared on Indian soil for their Khalistan,
Yeah. Yeah.
what is to stop them? What is to stop them from doing the same thing they did in Punjab, in BC, in Ontario,
They did
in
it,
Quebec?
didn't they? They did it. They
No, I
blew
mean
up a
like
there.
proper 1980s to mid 90s Punjab era.
Yeah, they are
What
doing
is to
whatever
stop
they
them?
no, they are doing whatever they can. They blew up a plane and now they are
Yeah, yeah.
doing now they are doing all these frauds. No, nobody's stopping them. You think you think running, like if you look at the cases that have been caught in Canada, the amount of drugs, like kilos and kilos of drugs that we are catching, and some of the facilities that we have found, how do they set up these facilities? How do they get access to, because they are like corporate style, industry style manufacturing. How are they able to operate without in plain sight, without anybody knowing it? It is organized crime. They have, everybody's involved, unfortunately. So they are doing whatever they can, to the best of their capabilities, and they are utilizing the skill set that they have. That is their skill. They are utilizing it and nobody is stopping them. And it will be like, that is my fear. And I don't want them to spread their arms further and damage the Canadian economy here, on the peace and the Canadian democracy here.
Sorry, I got cut off. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, I had some network issues.
No issues. No, I was saying
Yeah,
that they are doing whatever they can. It is
yeah,
they are using their skill set to the best of their abilities. That is their skill set. Terror
yeah.
and fraud and whatnot. So they are using it.
One thing people don't really think about. So worldwide, no matter where you are, so if you see, let's say, prostitution happening, and those girls or those women are, let's say, of Chinese ethnicity or Korean ethnicity, Russian ethnicity, their handlers, those people that are making them do that, will always be from their own community. So all the Punjabi Sikh girl prostitution that's been going on for the last good 15 years in this thing, in Canada, especially those students that they come, most of them are basically forced to go to Canada because their parents. And who do you think's making them do all the things that they're doing? Is
Yeah.
these
That's true.
very same people that are offering them LMIs, they're offering them asylum claims,
Yeah. Absolutely.
whatnot.
Yeah.
So it's the same people that are, so Khalistanis, and we say this repeatedly. Khalistanis in Canada are making the Sikh girls get into prostitution.
They
That's a
are.
fact. Now,
They are.
in India, in Firozpur, that is a border district, right? Borders Pakistan in the Malwa region. They killed a Hindu leader who did not make any statement ever against Khalistanis or anything, just because he was a Hindu member of the RSS. They shot him dead in daylight, right?
Yeah.
So I'll say this again, and then I just want to quickly talk about an article of yours. If they can burn Punjab for good 20 years that they love so much, they will definitely burn BC. They will definitely burn Ontario. They will definitely burn Alberta.
Yeah.
Nothing to stop.
They are already doing it. They are doing it to the best of their capabilities, not like literally burning, but everything else
Mm.
that they're exploiting the Western values, they're exploiting the democratic values, and they are, especially in Canada, like, you know us Canadians, we are the nicest people, and they are trying to exploit our good faith. Unfortunately, people see it, but, like, maybe a white person will be a bit hesitant speaking about it because he may be classified as a racist, and
Oh
may
yeah,
like, I am anti-Sikh, but a white person becomes a racist if they speak against them. So
yeah.
that's the narrative
And
that they.
anti-Sikh that hates the Sikh so much that she married the Sikh, and then her son is also a Sikh. Wears a turban. Yep,
Yes, yes,
definitely a Hindu fascist. RSS Hindu fascist.
absolutely.
Well, I just wanna add one more thing, that the world should remember that the Nazis also came into power using democracy. Only that
Yeah,
they decided once they were in power, they're gonna destroy the very thing that brought them to power,
yeah.
democracy.
They
All
use
right, now
our
I just
system against
yeah,
us.
exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so just wanna quickly talk about this article of yours. If you can just tell us, briefly what it's about, and then what we can learn from it.
Yeah, more or less, I've spoken about it. I think Khalistan is a Canadian issue. It has nothing to do
Yep.
with six separate state. It has nothing to do with India. They are here on our soil. They blew up a plane. People who blew up the plane, they were Canadians. Yes, they were brown Canadians, but they were
Mhm.
Canadians, and we welcomed them. At that time also, they came here exploiting our asylum, our immigration system. They are still doing it. They are still doing everything possible, everything illegal here. So it's a Canadian issue, and we have to, solve it, and nobody else is going to come and save us. We have to take the leadership, we have to understand the issue, and we have to solve it. And that's why I feel that it's a Canadian problem that Canadians will have to solve, because we cannot keep blaming, because these people, for example, who are coming here, who are exploiting our immigration system, we are allowing it. That's how they are able to do
Mm.
it. We, because we control that system, we own that system. So we cannot keep brushing it off as somebody else's problem. It is our problem. Defining a problem is the first stage to solving it. So we have to define the problem that Khalistan is a Canadian issue, it's a Canadian matter, and only then we will be able to solve it. I think the current establishment, they have a little bit of understanding, I feel. That's why they are doing what they are doing. So I'm positive, but I'm skeptical at the same time on how this will land in the next few years to come.
Well, we have every reason to be skeptical. And then I am really looking forward to the next couple of years. Let's see what path Canada takes when it comes to approaching India, and what kind of relations they want to have with India. You can't just ignore the largest, the most populous country and democracy in the world. Simple
Absolutely.
as that. You want to live in this world and you want to be among the leaders, you have to deal with India. And these Khalistanis, like I said, I mean, they will never get their Khalistan in India.
Yeah.
And what they're doing to Punjab is absolutely irreversible. I'm talking mass migration. They complain that the outsiders, so the same people who moved to Canada, who moved to Australia, all the Western countries, right? And they want equal rights, voting rights, everything. They have an issue with Indians from other parts of India coming and taking over the jobs in Punjab that they left behind, empty, vacant. Nobody's there to do that labor, and then they have a problem. And now I'm gonna do one favor for Canada and the Canadians. Well, the whole world actually, the Western world. One of these days, I'm gonna plan a trip to India, and I'm gonna record from the moment I enter Punjab, from the Haryana Punjab border all the way up to the Jammu Punjab border. And I'm going to show you exactly how many of these immigration centers that they run.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even be surprised if I go 1,000 miles and then end up with like 3,000 or 4,000 of these advertisements because they're
Yeah.
everywhere
It's
and
a
they're not
business.
even shy.
Yeah,
They,
they're
they
not.
don't
That's
even
what I'm
hide it.
saying, Sangha. That's exactly what I'm saying. It's a business, and everybody has a role to play, and everybody gets paid, like paid very handsomely, actually, very heavily. So that's what it is. On like on the front, they will shout human rights and humanity and whatnot, but the actual what they're trying to do is, and that's the narrative that they use, right? They will say, oh, a Sikh is persecuted in India, that's why they need to migrate
Mm,
to the west. And that's fake. Like if they were the Sikhs are like the most prosperous minority in India. You cannot be prosperous and persecuted at the same time. So it is definitely a narrative, and unfortunately, the here in the West we believe that, we fall for it, and because they have built their they have a stranglehold here on this narrative and on the media and everybody else. So yeah, we have to watch. We have to keep our eyes open and be very pragmatic about what we are trying to achieve. And it will take a lot of effort to achieve what we have promised and what we have committed to. But I'm positive that we are going in the right direction.
Well, like you said, a white person can't even say he saw an Indian man without, or a brown man without being called a racist. Let's say I don't know which comedian it was. I think it was Russell Peters. Yeah, Russell Peters.
Yeah,
So he says,
yeah,
"I go back to my building, and the security guard says, "Oh, well, your friend was here," and he's like, "The black guy." I don't know. I don't know. He could have been black. He could have been white. Like the guy can't even say yes, your black friend was there without being called racist. Now,
yeah.
before we end, I just want to show one video to everybody who's watching and everybody who will be watching. Please let me introduce you to one of the slave Sikhs of India. He's slapping a Hindu man, an elderly Hindu man. These are the Khalistani slaves of India, and that's a Khalistani in Indian Punjab. And that's what they do all over Punjab and all over India and all over the world. I have to wear a mask to speak the truth.
Yeah,
That should tell you everything about them. All right, Ruchi,
absolutely.
it was a pleasure talking to you again, and I look forward to catching up with you again in a week's time or 10 days, whenever we can both make time again.
For
Yeah,
sure.
so thank you. Thank you once again. And then, yeah, have a good day.
You too. Take care. Bye.
Take care. Bye. All right, everybody. Before you go, please hit the like button as it helps us with the algorithm. And I shall see you tomorrow morning. Well, 8:30 a.m. Indian time, 1 p.m. Australian Melbourne time, Australian Eastern time, and 10 p.m. Canadian Eastern time. And we will be joined by Mr. Haris Sultan, where we will be talking one Punjab, one identity. Let me just show you the thumbnail. All right. So yes, ਹਾਰਿਸ ਸੁਲਤਾਨ ਹਮੇ ਜੁਆਇਨ ਕਰਨਗੇ ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਪਛਾਣ, one ਪੰਜਾਬ, one identity, and let's talk about the ਭਾਈਚਾਰਾ, ਚੜ੍ਹਦਾ ਤੇ ਲਹਿੰਦਾ ਪੰਜਾਬ. See you guys then. ਸਤਿ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ. Jai Hind.